Welcome to Awabe. This tense is used to express the habits, the general truths and fixed arrangements. To express the habits, here are some examples. I have breakfast at 6 a.m. I go to bed at 10 midnight. I drink coffee every morning. I finish working at 5 p.m. I wash the dishes every day. To express the general truths, here are some examples. I am a student. I like math. I have a pen. The sun rises in the east. Water boils at 100 degrees. To express the fixed arrangements, here are some examples. The meeting starts at 2 p.m. The plane takes off at 8 a.m. The holiday starts on the 30th of April. His father arrives tomorrow morning. The train leaves at 7 a.m. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. Welcome to Awabe. We use the exclamatory sentence beginning with how to convey excitement or emotion. It ends with an exclamation mark. Here are some examples. How special you are. How rude the man is. How generous she is. How weird he is. How noisy the party is. How lovely the song is. How great a king was. How beautiful flowers are. How gentle he is. How fast the car is. How easy the test was. How hard the mission was. How interesting the match was. How lovely the room is. How tiny the boxes are. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. We use no longer to talk about the end of an action or state. No longer stands before the main verb or after be. Here are some examples. I no longer keep the dog. She no longer wears that dress. He no longer works here. I could no longer hide my fear. They no longer repair their fridges. I no longer belong to this English club. She is no longer fat and impolite. We are no longer lovers. We use inversion when no longer is put at the beginning of the sentence. No longer do I eat durian. No longer does he dream of becoming famous. No longer does she work as an accountant. No longer do they speak in the public. No longer do we keep in touch with each other. No longer does my mom take care of my sister. No longer is he a prisoner. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. Structure to presumptions about past events. Here are some examples. She must have overslept. She must have been sleeping. I must have left my keys at home. She must have injured her back. They must have got lost. She must have studied hard. He must have missed the bus. He must have been very careful. He must have felt so tired. She must have had a very good cup of tea. He must have gone out in the rain. It must have rained last night. He must have practiced singing a lot. They must have attended the meeting. There must have been the traffic jam on the bridge. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. We use this structure to emphasize the person who we asked to do the thing for us. Here are some examples. I had my father fix my bike. I had Dr. John check my wound. I had my daughter cook dinner. I had my sister repair the watch. I had my brother wash dishes. I had that boy polish the shoes. I had my friends paint the walls. I had the optician check the eyes. We can use get instead of have. We use to infinitive after the direct object. Here are some examples. I get the dentist to examine the teeth. I get my brother to deliver the computer. I get my boyfriend to build a new garage. I get the gardener to plant the trees. I get my boss to develop the company. I get Jack to make another key. I get Jenny to do the assignment. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. We use this structure to talk about someone doing something for us which we ask or instruct them to do. It emphasizes the action rather than who performs it. Here are some examples. I have my car washed. I have my hair cut. I have my room painted. I had the car cleaned. I had the roof repaired. I had my bicycle taken. I had my chair fixed. I had my house built. We can use get instead of have. Here are some examples. I get a pizza delivered. I get my teeth checked. I get some photos taken. I get some flowers watered. I get my nose broken in an accident. I get my garden destroyed by the storm. I get my phone stolen. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. We use this structure to ask the reason for something. Here are some examples. How come you missed the train? How come they had to stop in Birmingham? How come you didn't get an invitation? How come you won't be able to go swimming tomorrow? How come she knew my secret? How come we have lost the new boss? How come you didn't attend the previous lesson? How come the shoes got wet? How come you are so fat? How come fish can breathe under the water? How come she cancelled the plan? How come he behaved badly? How come she doesn't love her father? Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. We use the structure of unless to indicate what will or will not happen if something else does not happen or is not true. Here are some examples. Unless you hurry, you will be late for school. Unless you stop eating, you'll be sick. Unless she works hard, her boss will dismiss her. She won't pay unless you provide the goods immediately. You can't visit the United States unless you get the visa. Unless he stayed at his bed, he would be punished. Unless he were absent now, they could meet the director. Unless I cleaned my room, my mother would ask me to do this. We wouldn't go camping unless the weather were nice. I didn't feel pleasant unless he helped me to do homework. Unless she had stayed at home last day, she wouldn't have joined the party. Unless I had been busy last week, I would have finished the report. Unless I had lived in the dormitory, I would have annoyed my mother. My father would have waited for my sister unless she had gone home early. He wouldn't have known her secrets unless I had been on the phone. Please download Awabe Translate app to translate lessons. We use the type 3 conditional to indicate the impossible condition in the past and its probable result in the past. The tense in the if clause is the past perfect and the tense in the main clause is the perfect conditional. Here are some examples. If I had known that, I wouldn't have bought it for you. If I had had a vote, I would have voted for him. If I had heard the burglar alarm, I would have got out of that house. If you had pressed that button, the machine would have worked. If he had played for us, we would have won. If you had told the truth, I would have helped you. If you had been thirsty, I would have brought you some beer. If he had spoken louder, his students would have understood him. If she had passed the examination, we would have had a celebration. If she had read the instructions carefully, she wouldn't have had the wrong answer. If you had bought fresh green vegetable, your salad would have tasted better. If we hadn't run out of petrol, we wouldn't have walked such a long way. If I hadn't fed the animals, the zookeeper wouldn't have punished me. If the story hadn't been true, the newspaper wouldn't have printed it. If the fog hadn't been thick, the flight wouldn't have been cancelled. Please download a Wabe Translate app to translate lessons.